The ending of Arcane strongly implied that Jinx has now fully evolved into the monster she was always meant to become. Now before you get mad at me for saying this about the poor, traumatized girl, these are the words of the artist that created Jinx herself. Essentially what I'm saying is, Jinx is now at a point in the story where she's comparable as a character to where she's at in the lore. Now this is important because we know that every single character is going to end up at the same place development-wise as they are in the lore, at least at some point during their character arc. And so far, Jinx is the only character that is comparable to their lore at the moment. Arguably Singed, but we don't know enough about him to say for sure. So the question is, where does Jinx's character go from here? It's not possible to tell a compelling story without further character development. Even the MCU, which has a lot of entertainment value just based on the IPs alone, makes sure to have all their biggest characters develop past their flaws, so they never feel static. So in order to say whether or not Jinx could regain her sanity, I need you to like and subscribe to my channel, because only 2% of people who watch my videos are subscribed. But for real, in order to say whether or not Jinx can regain her sanity, we need to know more about the lore of League of Legos is interesting because it's not a traditional story. There certainly are excellent stories in League of Legends, but the lore itself is not a piece of media which focuses on characters that develop in the way a more traditional story would. Characters' bios read more like superhero origin stories than, an actual story. Now that's not a criticism at all. I love superheroes and I love the League of Legends lore. But it does give us an interesting insight into how character development in Arcane can happen relative to the lore in the future seasons of Arcane. So number one, they can simply get to where they're at the lore and stay there. Now, this is extremely unlikely. It's just not a very interesting concept, and it would ruin the whole mystery of Arcane if we know where every character is going to end up, and we know they're just going to stay like that forever. Which means that, number two, they could get to where they're at as champions, and then develop as characters past them. Now, this is what makes the most sense to me. It's pretty much impossible to tell a compelling story without having extensive character development. Every good piece of media that you have enjoyed in recent times probably has excellent character development, including Arcane. Jinx has one of the most interesting character arcs in all media, and I think it would be a massive disservice to the show to just pause that for the sake of being honest to the source material. We see her as an already abandoned, traumatized kid in the beginning who gets massively traumatized by her own mistake. All of Act 1, we see Jinx trying to be useful to Vi, trying to contribute, trying to get her contraptions to work, trying to get her praise, and when she finally gets something to work, she kills her whole family. Also, the one person she looks up to hits her in anger. But then, she finds someone who truly loves her, never judges her, someone who works hard to make her feel included and useful, a man who gave her the one thing she ever truly wanted, unconditional love, being useful to a cause, the ability to stab someone in the eye regularly. And then she kills her whole family again during a heated moment. Arcane is a tragedy, Jinx's story especially. And I think that when Jinx's character arc ends, we will likely see a moment of sobriety and sanity restored before its inevitable conclusion. Maybe it's self-sacrifice, maybe it's just a quiet moment with Vi before her death. Much like how touching Silco's death turned out to be, it certainly fits with the theme of Arcane. Please like and subscribe if you like Arcane, or if you just thought that video was neat, and I'll see you in the next one.